Number 10. Taylor Swift. This beef began in 2011 during Katy Perry's California Dream World Tour. It was a 2-year tour, and during that time, Katy worked with the same dance crew every show. They got to know the ins and outs of the show to make it as smooth and fun as possible. Following the end of the tour, several of Katy's dancers auditioned to join Taylor Swift for her upcoming tour, and they were soon working with another pop icon. After just 6 months, however, Katy called up the few dancers who had joined Taylor and asked them to return for a gig with her instead. Naturally, they quickly agreed to join, and Taylor was out 3 dancers. Apparently, they weren't actually doing much dancing on the tour, and they were just really bored with the project, so they heel-clicked at the opportunity to do more. Taylor broke out in interviews claiming Perry intended to sabotage her tour by hiring people from under her nose. Several Swifties claim that she wrote Bad Blood about Perry, and if that's the case, well, we have been warned, and in such a catchy way. Number 9. Lady Gaga. On Katy Perry's Prismatic World Tour, Lady Gaga couldn't help but notice a slight similarity between the two, specifically the inclusion of a mechanical horse in Katy's show. On the tour, Katy would come out on stage with green hair riding a mechanical horse, which similarly Lady Gaga rode a mechanical horse on the red carpet on the American Music Awards ceremony the year prior. She took to Twitter to call out Perry, saying, "Well, I guess green hair and mechanical horses are like a thing now." And it seemed that these two did not like being compared to each other, Gaga especially. In an interview with Billboard, Gaga said that she didn't know what the F all she had to do with Katy Perry. Their music is so different, and she basically fits into her own category. Whether it was to prove a point or to take the attention away from Perry, Gaga proved her uniqueness by giving a highly controversial performance at that year's South by Southwest festival. During her performance, now this is just a quick warning for anyone who is squeamish, please skip ahead like 30 seconds if you don't want to hear this, Gaga had a vomit artist continuously throw up on her during the show, while she continued singing. That is just gnarly. Katy, if you've upset someone to the point of doing that on stage, maybe look inward. Number 8. Miley Cyrus. Miley and Perry's relationship is the textbook definition of the term frenemies, and it's only gotten worse over the years. Their friendship began in 2008 when Katy claimed that her song I Kissed a Girl was about the Hannah Montana star, and even invited her to be Katy's special guest at that year's Video Music Awards. Recently, Perry decided that she wanted to go see Miley in concert, and Miley took advantage of that situation to spark some buzz on social media. Katy was sitting in the front row, and Miley came over and took the opportunity to plant one on her frenemy. Seemingly playful at first, however, Cyrus attempted to involve her tongue in the moment, and Perry was not having it. She later said in an interview that she had to pull away from Miley as fast as possible because Miley's tongue is infamous. Who knows where it's been? Well, Miley took to Twitter to respond saying, "Girl, if you're worried about where tongues have been, it's a good thing your ex-boo is your ex. Cause we all know where that tongue has been." This is of course in reference to singer and ex-boyfriend John Mayer, who has been romantically involved with like most of Hollywood. But was it Miley trying to warn us about Perry, or does her tongue have a mind of its own? Who knows? Number 7. Calvin Harris. Calvin is a Scottish DJ, record producer, and singer-songwriter. His debut studio album, I Created Disco, was released in 2007, and he's made waves in the music business ever since. Calvin was all set up to open for Katy back in 2011 for her California Dream Tour, but he dropped out at the last minute, blaming the tour's production team. Apparently, her team had suddenly moved the goalposts, and he was to appear on stage without production. Now, moving the goalpost is a term meaning change something last minute, and this change meant that Calvin would be on a tiny portion of the stage alone for 30 minutes, and it made no sense for him to show up for such a minimal role. Now, even though his claims weren't aimed towards Katy herself, she definitely took it personally and decided to throw some shade right back at the DJ. She posted several lists of artists opening for her tour that apparently had no problem with the last minute changes. She ended one tweet with, "It's fine, I'm used to you canceling on me. It's becoming your staple." Apparently he had to cancel last minute for a concert prior to that one, only that time it was due to a scheduling conflict, so like, hey, take it easy, Katy. Clearly Calvin knows better than to perform for Perry. He canceled twice. He's clearly trying to tell us something. Number 6. Chief Keef. Hip-hop artist Chief Keef released his breakout hit I Hate Being Sober in 2012, featuring Wiz Khalifa and 50 Cent. Keef was just shy of 18 at the time, so his song being so popular at such a young age was a massive deal. but not to Katy Perry. In fact, Katy made it a point to let her fans know that she wasn't into the song by going on Twitter and letting everyone know that the lyrics, quote, made her have serious doubt for the world. According to the news outlet Billboard, Keith took serious offense to her tweets and decided the most appropriate reaction was to tweet a bunch of nasty things in response, and I will be paraphrasing this, of course. He tweeted, "Dat snitch, Katy Perry, can suck the skin off my duck. I'll smack the poo-poo out of her." He also claimed that Katy's name would surely be popping up in his music in the near future. Katy tried to take back her tweets, claiming that she didn't know it was Keith's song. Hey, Katy, you know that if you're listening to a song at any point on anything, the artist's name is like almost always directly beneath the play button. It's not like I listen to Hot and Cold and I'm like, oh, who is this? I have no idea. Keith shared Katy's apology, but did not respond to it. He did, however, keep his promise and worked Katy into his song, Haha. Unfortunately, his rhymes were not as harsh as his tweets. Like, come on Twitter, the music industry is clamping down harder on swear words than you. Number 5, Lily Allen. Lily Allen is a British pop star and was not very pleased when Katy Perry described herself as a skinnier version of Allen. According to Lily, their first meeting was frosty, and she shot back at Katy for fat-shaming her by taking digs at her music, claiming Katy Perry was discovered because of Allen. Katy was signed by her label in America, as they needed to find something controversial and kooky. Allen went on to call Katy out for not writing her own music and called the lyrics that she does use crass. Katy addressed the feud in an interview with Us Weekly where she fake apologized by making light of her comments. She called what she said a joke and claimed that she was just trying to be funny. She's quoted as saying, "Comedians are not necessarily to be taken super seriously." Hey, last time I checked, you were a pop star and not John Mulaney. The tweets were offensive and rude, and Lily's reactions were handled very well. Katy needs to get a filter or something, cause she seriously can't seem to keep her negative thoughts inside of her head like the rest of us. Number 4, Bo Burnham. Comedian Bo Burnham is much more than your average stand-up comedian. Bo is a lyrical genius, being able to make us laugh and cry with the simple click of the next button. In Bo's Netflix special Make Happy, he plays a song called End Yourself, where he refers to Katy Perry several times. His hatred towards the pop star is vague at first, but he goes on to sing, "If you search for moral wisdom in Katy Perry lyrics, then end yourself." In an interview with Rolling Stones, Burnham expressed why celebrities are often the inspiration for his lyrics. He said that it was him trying to advocate on behalf of the audience. "These people act like they're somehow better humans, and we've become filled with joy when they get on late shows and act like human beings, and it's just like, who cares?" Yeah, who cares about Katy and her dark horse? Yeah, you're right, you go Bo, you go Bo. Number 3, Ruby Rose. A few years ago, Katy Perry went on Saturday Night Live with a kid in a backpack and performed Swish Swish Live for the first time. The song was pretty popular and it introduced the world to flossing. So I guess that's Katy's contribution to society. When first released, she was quick to say that the song was not about anyone in particular, but Katy's fans were convinced that it was a response to Taylor Swift's song Bad Blood, which is 100% about Katy Perry. Actor Ruby Rose, who you may know from the series Orange is the New Black, is a part of Taylor's inner squad and took to Twitter to defend her friend, apparently forgetting that Bad Blood even existed. She tweeted, "Purposeful poop to bomb a petite, to a sloppy mess of writing over the top of Fukunaga. Stop trying to make it fetch happen." What? What? Can someone get Tom Hanks from the Da Vinci Code in here? Because I have no idea what I just said. Anyone who isn't Katy Perry would be just as confused, but apparently to Katy herself, these tweets were like a dagger to her heart. Oh, it's just a bunch of mumbo jumbo to me. Now let's decode, shall we? In Perry's song, Chained to the Rhythm, she was quoted as saying she hoped it would start a trend of purposeful pop, aka the purposeful poop part. The second part refers to the song Bon Appetit, which was received poorly by fans and critics, and of course, the last part is a Mean Girls reference for some reason, but leave that beautiful movie out of this, Ruby. Ruby took back the cryptic tweets not long after posting them, but her message was clear. Okay, well not really, but we figured it out. Number 2, Russell Brand. What many people may not know is that Russell Brand was actually married to Katy Perry for a short time. During their brief marriage though, Russell recounts being uncomfortable for a majority of their public outings. He's quoted as saying, "I'm associated with the very thing I detest. Vapid, precocious, plastic, constructed, mindless celebrity. People are like, oh, who's that guy?" And that guy is married to Katy Perry. Eventually, the pair decided to get a divorce. Okay, well, Russell decided that he wanted to get a divorce, and apparently notified Katy about it over text. After they split, Perry wound up in Russell's stand-up act on a regular basis. He compared his love life with Perry to that of a monk's. He said, "When you're a monk, you're not allowed to make love with anyone. If you're married, you can, but only with one person. That's one more than monks. That's not that different." According to Katy, she hasn't actually spoken to Russell since their split, but she totally should, right? If someone was making fun of me on stage without my knowledge or permission, I'd find out who's doing it and I'd ask them to please stop. Russell is only being given a stronger platform for himself to warn us about Katy and her plastic persona, so maybe hop on that one, Miss Perry. And number 1, American Idol. Recently, Katy Perry took to social media to announce that she wants to quit the successful singing competition American Idol after 6 years over fears that she's being thrown under the bus by producers who edit the show to make her seem like the nasty judge. Katy has faced a slew of controversy and scandal over this current season of American Idol, and it seems like it's all becoming just too much for her. For those who don't know, on the recent season of American Idol, Katy Perry had an interesting reaction to a contestant revealing that she was a mother of 3 and much older than she looked. Katy stood up out of her chair and almost laid on the judge's table. The contestant Sarah Beth joked that if Katy laid on the table that she would die, and Katy responded with, "Honey, you've been laying on the table too much." That's just so mean. At first everyone laughed at this, seemed like it was all good fun, but following her audition, Sarah announced that she would be going back to California to be with her family, claiming that she just wasn't cut out for show business. But later, she took to Twitter to call Perry out for the joke, which was both mom shaming and something else shaming. I can't say the S word on YouTube. While this was a one-time incident, Katy has been known to be shady during her time as a judge, and her comments aren't always as helpful as I'm sure they're meant to be, so it's not really hard to make her seem like the bad judge.
Coming number 10 today, we have Miley Cyrus. At one point, Selena Gomez and Miley Cyrus were pretty good friends, and as their fame started to take off, their environment would grow to be the perfect storm for jealousy, self-loathing, and unreasonable competition. Things even got so bad between the two. At one point, Selena and Miley were even characterized as mortal enemies, battling it out for the ultimate Disney crown. The feud all started when Miley started dating Nick Jonas, and after they broke up, he became romantically linked to Selena Gomez. After Selena confirmed her relationship with Nick Jonas, over the next couple of years, the girls would have a number of small passive-aggressive and ultimately meaningless gestures that took place on both sides, like back in 2008 when Selena and Demi made that YouTube video, and then Miley and her friend Mandy made fun of the video by spoofing it. While it seems like the stars have no bad blood today between them, they definitely aren't exactly friends either. Number 9. Justin Bieber. It's clear that Justin Bieber isn't really happy since his wife, Hailey Bieber, and ex Selena Gomez developed a close bond recently. It's said that the Peaches singer has even warned the model to keep her distance from the Wizard of Waverly Place actor as he is concerned that something might go wrong. An insider would then tell In Touch Weekly that after years of being pitted against each other, Selena and Hailey are finally on friendly terms. However, Justin is freaking out over them comparing notes since their pictures from the Academy Museum of Motion Pictures' second annual gala went viral. He then warned Hailey to keep her distance from Selena, despite calling a truce. As far as Justin is concerned, he believes all hell can break loose at any moment, which is only fair as he and Selena had a pretty messy breakup, and Justin's fans have been urging him to leave Hailey for some time because everybody's still stuck on his relationship with Selena Gomez. Coming number 8. The Weeknd. The Weeknd didn't seem to have the nicest things to say about Selena Gomez after the two broke up in October 2017 after 10 months of dating. But it's not really surprising since Selena did leave him to reconcile with her ex-boyfriend Justin Bieber as the two were spotted kissing less than a month later. Later, The Weeknd would even write a song called Call Out My Name, which he told the story of their relationship, and he seemingly threw shade at how quickly his ex moved on by singing, "I guess I was another pit stop stop? Till you made up your mind, you wasted my time. He then also appeared to take aim at Selena on several other songs from his other EP, which widely speculated to be about the breakup. On the song Try Me, he would sing "Don't mess with me, the way I kissed your scars, the way I fixed your heart, don't you mess with me babe," while his track Privilege would call out Selena's life when he sang "Enjoy your privileged life, cause I'm not gonna hold you through the night, we said our last goodbyes." The Weeknd never confirmed that the EP was about Selena, but he would tell Esquire that it was short because he had nothing else to say on it. Now, why anyone would ever want to leave The Weeknd for Justin Bieber is beyond me, but Selena's true colors showed when she did just that. Number 7. Ariana Grande. Ariana Grande and Selena Gomez have never really exactly been friendly with each other, and it all goes back to one person, Justin Bieber. After Selena and Justin officially broke up, Selena set it as her goal to ruin Justin's career, and she caused a lot of chaos in the process. So before Ariana became famous, she was actually this huge Justin Bieber fan, and she always supported him and defended him throughout her career. So after Justin was branded as the world's biggest a-hole thanks to what Selena was leaking to the press about him, aka him being a cheater, Ariana would then stand up for the singer and claim that he was actually a really nice person. But it seems like the girls really just couldn't stand each other because Selena was always really jealous when it came to other girls being around Justin. And when Ariana was opening up for Justin on tour, Selena would end up fuming over the idea. And when Ariana was set to sit beside her during the KCAs, Ariana even moved her seat to sit somewhere else while Selena stayed in the same place. Number 6. Sofia Richie. Back in 2016, Selena made a comment about Sofia Richie's and Justin Bieber's relationship. Sofia would then weigh in on the drama and support her rumored boyfriend, Justin Bieber. In case you forgot, this is when Selena called out Justin Bieber for sharing back-to-back photos of Sofia and then threatened to make his Instagram private so people would stop hating on her. Selena would then write, "If you can't handle the hate, then stop posting pictures of your girlfriend, lol. It should be special between you two only. Don't be mad at your fans. They love you." Though Justin provided his own response, Sofia made sure to show her support for him by saying, "Justin is not shutting out his believers. He's thankful every day for y'all. Y'all got him here. He doesn't forget that period. All love." Then Selena and Justin began this really big back and forth that the internet couldn't help but dive into. Number 5. Bella Hadid. Now, just when Selena started dating R&B singer The Weeknd, Bella Hadid would end up being hella livid because before Selena and The Weeknd got together, apparently Bella and him had plans to eventually reconcile. However, The Weeknd claimed that he was taking a break from his relationship with Bella so he could actually focus on his career, and he actually just ended up doing the exact opposite. And that's when he started talking to Selena Gomez, which actually resulted in a lot of tension between the two ladies because after The Weeknd left Bella, he pretty much jumped right into a relationship with Selena, and this really hurt Bella because she loved The Weeknd and thought that they would ultimately end up together. She was more just livid with Selena though because she was the only one standing in her way of getting back with her ex. And when the two started to date, Bella knew her relationship with him was officially over, and that really hurt her. Number 4. Chris Rock. In a display of shade that seemingly had no reason behind it, Chris Rock would very publicly diss Selena by posting a less than kind meme to his Twitter account back in June of 2016. At the time, the comedian would share a snap of Selena smiling and rocking a gold bodysuit while performing on stage alongside the caption, "When you buy your formation tickets on Craigslist." He then wrote alongside the meme, "This is true." Understandably, the tweet, which still remains on the actor's account today, didn't go too well with Selena fans as supporters then bombarded them and criticized them. And one fan even said, "When nobody will buy your stand-up comedy tickets, so you come out on Twitter to slander someone more successful than you." The shade was made all more confusing after it was pointed out that both Chris and Selena had actually gotten along pretty well a few years earlier as they were photographed together chatting on the red carpet at the 2010 Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards when Gomez even sweetly embraced the comedian's daughters. Number 3. Stefano Gabbana. Stefano Gabbana back in June of 2018 wouldn't say the nicest things about Selena when she was on a social media break, and he went straight for the comments that surrounded the actor's looks. Just after a fashion account called the Catwalk Italia posted 5 photos of Selena in this stunning red dress, one of the snaps would show the star in a stunning floor-length red Dolce & Gabbana dress. The Italian account would then tag the brand on the snap. Then for some reason, the co-founder Dolce & Gabbana wasn't a fan of any look, nor was he a supporter, as he would comment on the photo, "She's so ugly." While Gomez fans slammed the designer in follow-up comments, he didn't seem so worried about the wrath of the star's supporters, as he simply wrote in response, Selena then ended up getting the last laugh when she was spotted at New York Fashion Week in September 2018 with the word ugly written in rhinestones on her hair. Number 2. Demi Lovato. So today Demi has no beef with Selena Gomez. However, she has made it clear that she is no longer friends with the star that she used to be best friends with. Their falling out would allegedly be caused over personal struggles both had to face over the years, as Demi felt like Selena wasn't always there for her and that their friendship wasn't actually really real. While Demi has confirmed that she does have a lot of love for Selena, she just can't be friends with her at this time, as she doesn't want to be reminded of her Disney days, as they made her feel miserable and overworked. The two girls first became friends when they worked on Barney together, and later when they became teenagers, they started to drift apart. As Demi started to enter into this really big downward spiral, Selena would then start to distance herself from Demi as she entered into rehab facilities, and Demi started to feel like she was being abandoned by her best friend. While the two continued to have this really off and on friendship, both girls' personalities continue to clash, which leads you to wonder what's truly going on between them and what actually happened that made them hate each other. And coming in number 1 today, we have Lorde. So Lorde is another star who has spoken out about Selena Gomez, and this time it's because of her music. It's clear that the musician is not a fan of Selena's single Come and Get It, and while Lorde was speaking to the Rolling Stone in 2013, she would say, "I love pop music on a sonic level, but I'm a feminist, and the theme of Selena's song Come and Get It, when you're ready, come and get it from me. I'm sick of women being portrayed this way." Lorde would then be asked about her comments by MTV News, and she refused to back down by saying, "I have pretty strong morals in my opinion being in pop music, and I can't help but express those, which I think people appreciate. I mean, I don't think I can say anything that isn't backed up. Most of the times I will stand by things that I've said." As for what Selena had to say about the matter, well, she hit back in October 2013 in an interview with Flaunt, where she went after Lorde for claiming she's a feminist while tearing other women down by saying, "That's not feminism. Lorde is not supporting other women. That's my honest opinion. That's what I would say to her if I saw her. I actually covered her song in all of my shows that I've done so far. I'm not sure if I'm going to continue that." At number 10, we have Olivia Wilde. Olivia has stated that, like any relationship that ends, it doesn't just happen overnight. Unfortunately for Jason, the two have had bumpy roads, and it officially dissolved the relationship. A nanny to the couple, however, would later reveal that the actor was so distraught by his breakup with Olivia that he allegedly threw himself in front of a car to prevent her from leaving. Before the incident occurred, Olivia was trying to leave to see her new boyfriend, Harry Styles. However, it said that Jason was chasing her around the house, and she could be heard saying, "Jason, I'm scared of you." Jason responded by saying, "If you're so scared of me, why are you leaving your kids with me?" Jason would then go outside and lay under Olivia's car to prevent her from leaving. The two would later come out and say that the rumors aren't true, but the nanny would reveal more later, which would make you question if the two stars were telling the truth or not. At number 9, the nanny. It's said that Jason allegedly threw his nanny out of his house after he was filled with rage over Olivia Wilde's new relationship with Harry Styles. The former employee claimed in an interview with Daily Mail she received a text message from Jason saying, "You're going to get your stuff and get out. Why are you sending these messages to her?" The woman then claimed she responded by telling the star he had been drinking, and she could tell he was under the influence and that she was afraid of him. A rep for Olivia would claim that the woman chose to resign and that her claims were false. The nanny, however, told Daily Mail that she did have plans to quit, but offered to work for the couple for another 6 months until they found a replacement. However, after the incident took place, the nanny packed her bags and headed to Rosewood London Hotel. When she was asked about a severance pay, she said she was given nothing at all. The whole experience also made her question her career as a nanny, and she said she always loved her career and how they treated her definitely upset her. At number 8, we have Jennifer Aniston. After Olivia and Jason first confirmed their split, Jennifer Aniston knew there was something concerning going on with the star. So being the good friend we all know her to be, she made sure Jason had a shoulder to lean on. If anyone knows what it's like to be humiliated romantically but overcome all the obstacles and come out stronger, it's her. A source confirmed that Jennifer became a rock to Jason throughout this nightmare, and Jennifer would talk and text to Jason every day to make sure the star was well, and she was concerned about the actor's mental state following some pretty serious allegations made by the nanny. She even shared her coping strategies such as meditation, yoga, to help the star overcome his strong emotions with anger and sadness. Honestly, Jennifer Aniston is an absolute angel, and I'm glad Jason had at least one friend like her to help him get through this messy split. At number 7, we have Harry Styles. Now, with everything going on, you're probably wondering how Harry Styles feels about the whole ordeal. Well, it seems like Harry is doing his best to stay out of this messy divorce, and I don't blame him. With Jason coming out to say Olivia left him for Harry, this is definitely a situation you want to avoid answering, as one bad move can definitely label you as a homewrecker, and that's definitely something the pop star will want to avoid. Harry has taken the time not to reach out to Jason at any point, mainly because he feels like it isn't his place to interfere. With Olivia denying she left Jason for Harry and Jason saying she did, it makes you wonder who's really telling the truth. So what do you think? And let me know in the comments below. At number 6, we have Keely Hazel. Being first linked back in 2021, Jason and Keely have split just nearly after 1 year of dating. The two have been close friends since they first met while filming Horrible Bosses 2. A source claims that Jason wasn't ready for anything serious as he was still processing his split from his fiancée Olivia. However, with Keely being ready to get their relationship to the next level, Jason was still devastated over his split with the mother of his children. However, he did feel safe and relaxed with her, and the pair did truly enjoy each other's company. Since the beginning, they were friends and they didn't know how long their relationship would last, because Jason has stated over and over again he isn't looking for anything serious anytime soon. While Keely was ready to cozy up with Jason, he just was looking for a good time, which ultimately led to some problems within their relationship and may have been the reason for their split. At number 5, we have Don Cheadle. Now, Jason had a lot to say during his acceptance speech for Best Performance by an Actor in the television series for his role on Ted Lasso. Now, the actor began to struggle with his words after he found out he won the award. Jason would go on in a long speech that he would thank his family and his co-stars. Now, the humble actor would then go on to say that he rejects being the best actor because in his opinion, the best actor is the person you are acting with, and that's why he had to shout out all of the people he got to act with on the show. Now, at this point, Don started to give Jason the wrap-up speech. As Jason was continuing to talk while the fellow nominees started to laugh, Jason would acknowledge that Don was right and he needed to wrap this puppy up. Now, I know if I ever won a huge award, I wouldn't even know what to say, and I would probably just stand there and do the classic smile and wave energy before awkwardly leaving. So luckily for Jason, Don was there to help him wrap it up before things got a little too messy. At number 4, we have Ice Cube. So Ice Cube once almost got Jason into trouble back in 6th grade. On an appearance for The Late Late Show with James Corden and Ice Cube, Jason explained that he used to write lyrics and memorize them by writing them down. When Jason was back in 6th grade, he loved Ice Cube, so to learn his song, he wrote it down and memorized the lyrics. Well, Jason wouldn't leave out any words. So the night before class one day, he decided to write down all the lyrics to Gangster Gangster. Now, the next day, Jason would go to class and he was showing the lyrics with a centerfold from an adult magazine to 8 other boys in his class. However, when his teacher, Miss Huffy, came in, she took the paper away and handed the boys their homework before leaving the room. Now, one of Jason's friends decided to scribble on a piece of paper and swap the confiscated paper out before shoving it into his sock, and when the teacher came back and asked where the paper was, no one knew where it went. His friend then started freaking out about it, and then the group of boys got sent to the office. Now, the principal was really disturbed because the teacher was telling her the lyrics were violent, and then the boys boys got busted and sentenced to detention. At number 3, we have Florence Pugh. Florence was allegedly set to make a cameo in an episode of Jason's show Ted Lasso, but then the scene got cut out. The claim was made after a Twitter user who shared the photo of Florence on the set of the show. While the two were having problems on the set of Don't Worry Darling, one user pointed out that they believed the cut cameo was originally filmed in 2020 for the second episode of Ted Lasso's first season. Now, it's said that Florence's ex she dated for 3 years before the pair split broke up earlier that year, and he was actually a director on the set, and that could be the reason her cameo was taken out. However, with Olivia and Jason being engaged at the time of their feud, it also could have been the reason why her cameo disappeared from the show. Either way, in the film industry, it's not uncommon for things to get cut, and the actor still got paid for their time on set. At number 2, we have Kay Cannon. So before Jason was engaged to Olivia, he was once married to Kay Cannon. Now, Jason was married to the screenwriter and producer Kay Cannon for 4 years before separating in 2008. However, for the couple, their careers always came first, and this ultimately led to the destruction of their marriage. Jason would later say while he was married to Kay, he had to give up 2 things he loved the most while he took a writing job for the show. He had to give up performing and living with his wife. Ultimately, Jason chose his career over his wife and chose to go on the show, and the two shortly split after. Now, Jason has noted that he did have a sign it was over before he went on the show, but the show just finalized things. With both having really busy lifestyles and big dreams, it makes a lot of sense why the two would split and would still continue to support each other as friends. At number 1, we have Chris Rock. It's said that Chris Rock one time hijacked Jason's Saturday Night Live audition. When Jason first auditioned for the iconic sketch comedy show, Chris Rock would go on to steal his thunder. Jason was backstage calming his nerves before he went on set, and all of a sudden, Jeff Ross and Chris Rock entered the backstage. Now, at the beginning, he just thought Chris and Jeff were there to see the new talent. Unfortunately, Chris wasn't there to watch, but rather to perform. Now, Chris is standing right beside Jason, and Jason puts his drink down to head to the stage, and Chris goes, "Hey man, was this your big shot?" And Jason was like, kinda. And then he went on to say, "Sorry." Immediately after the interaction, an announcer welcomed Chris Rock to the stage. Now, Jason was a little hurt by the experience. However, before Chris left the building, he wished the comedian good luck and told him that the crowd loves original thought. Number 10, Chevy Chase. In 1978, Murray infamously got into a physical altercation with Chase Chevy. After the star returned to Saturday Night Live as a guest host, it began with the two trading some pretty heavy insults towards each other. It started when Murray telling Chase to go get with his wife, and Chase responded by telling Murray his face looked like something Neil Armstrong landed on. The insults seemed to escalate as quickly as their comebacks did, and television following the rest of the cast watched the two display in a physical altercation. Larnie Newman noted, "It was a very sad and painful thing to watch unfold during her appearance on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen in June of 2021. In May of 2012, Murray called his part in the scandal a childish feeling of jealousy and anger he let control him. He went on to say things that he was mad that Chevy left the cast of Saturday Night Live and Murray somehow was avenging Angel, who had to speak for everybody else. Chevy and Murray are soon back on good terms after the fiasco, and everything was fine as the two starred together in the 1980 comedy Caddyshack shortly after the altercation. Number 9. Richard Dreyfuss. Oscar winner Richard explained when he was working with Murray on the 1991 film What About Bob that Murray was a bully. He explained that Bill drank a lot at dinner and let his true colors showed and allowed everybody to see how much of a bully he was. When reflecting on his whole experience on set, he highlighted one incident where he asked Murray to read a tweak in the script and Murray lost his temper. He went on to say that the star became face to face with him, so close that their noses were touching. Murray then went on to scream at Richard at the top of his lungs and said, "Everybody hates you, you are tolerated." Richard then went on to note that he had no time to react because Murray then proceeded to throw an ashtray at him, Luckily, the ashtray missed, and rather than making things worse, Richard decided to leave the room. Richard showed us that Murray has a violent past, not just with female co-stars, but also with his male ones. Number 8, we have Laura Ziskin. Richard Dreyfuss wasn't the only person who had problems with Murray and how he handled himself on the set of filming What About Bob. As producer, Laura Ziskin has said that she once had a disagreement with Murray, which resulted in him tossing her into a lake. Although at the time she called it playful, in 2003 she claimed the event wasn't so playful, as throughout the set, Murray started to become more aggressive. In one incident, Murray asked Laura for an extra day off, and when she said no, he had an epic meltdown and took Laura's glasses off before breaking them and throwing them across the parking lot. The altercation caused everybody to walk off production, and a bunch flew back to LA to film, only after Disney hired some bodyguards to physically separate Murray from harming anyone else between takes. Bill Murray tried to justify his actions in an interview back in 1991, saying he didn't get along with many of his cast and directors, and all he was doing was standing up for himself. Number 7, we have Harold Ramis. Bill Murray had a long decade estrangement from his longtime friend and collaborator Harold. Sadly, the two's friendship collapsed while on set of the film 1993 Groundhog's Day. During a heated creative dispute, Harold said he grabbed Murray's shirt collar and the two got into a heated altercation. In a book later released by Harold's daughter Violet, titled Ghostbusters' Daughter: Life of My Dad, Violet would go on to note that the incident happened and Murray wouldn't speak to Harold for over 20 years, and even though Harold tried not to take it personally, he was ultimately left feeling heartbroken and confused about the unsurprised rejection. Murray was unheard from up until Harold was in the hospital, and Murray showed up to visit his old pal unannounced at 7 a.m. in February of 2014 with a box of donuts and a police escort. With Harold losing his ability to speak, he was no longer able to speak to Murray before his passing. However, Murray didn't mind and hung out with Harold for a couple of hours anyways. I'm glad Bill was able to put the two's differences aside and came together for his friend before his passing. Number 6, we have McG. Moving on to the set of Charlie's Angels, filmed in 2000s, director McG, whose real name is Joseph McGinty Nicol, claimed in an interview with Guardian in May of 2009 that working on movies can be pretty stressful at times, even adding that he doesn't think he's ever been on a film that hasn't had some type of altercation break out. In one incident, his nose was obliterated when his head collided with another. At first he didn't want to recall the name of the actor with respect, however he went on to say it was Bill Murray. And the industry is very passionate industry, and people take care of their own work. When Murray heard about the interview, he did his own interview with Times of London in October 2009. The star went on to note that Joseph has a really active imagination and he doesn't understand why he would make up that story. He then took to the situation further by stating a really serious sentence that made many feel uncomfortable. With Joseph coming forward about his experience in past film sets encountering the same situation, it's easy to see why Bill would lie to cover up the allegations, but now that more stars are coming forward, it's clear that McG had nothing to lie about and was warning us all about the actor before these events could happen again. Number 5, Angelica Houston. Addams Family star Angelica Houston was essentially hurt by Bill Murray's behavior on set of Wes Anderson's 2004 film. Angelica said Bill was horrible after working with him, and in May of 2017, Houston told Vulture that during her first week of set, Bill invited the entire cast for dinner except for her. She went on to say that everyone went out for dinner a little dog-faced at the fact she wasn't there or had been invited, and throughout the day they were telling her, "Oh, you know, we really don't want to go," but they all went otherwise. The whole situation really hurt Angelica. With the film being shot all over Italy, Angelica noted that she didn't see Bill again until they were on set to shoot in Florence. When she entered the set, Bill greeted her and asked her how she was and even said, "I miss you." In the heat of the moment, Angelica looked at him and said he was full of it and told Bill that he didn't miss her. Murray is said to be confused for a moment but was unfazed by the comment. Angelica showed us that Bill didn't care about his castmates and he wasn't afraid to single them out and make them feel unwanted in many situations. Number 4, we have Richard Donner. In the 1988 film Scrooge, directed by Richard Donner, follows Bill Murray as he plays a selfish, cynical television executive, Frank Cross, as he's haunted by 3 ghosts on Christmas Eve. Being the first film that Donner and Murray were set to work in together, Donner was worried because he didn't know if the pair would get along. And considering Murray's past behavior on other sets, I don't blame him. With Scrooge being a box office success, Donner came forward to say that Murray was a super creative actor but occasionally was difficult to work with. He also noted he was only as difficult to work with as any other actor. Cast and crews have gone on to say that the source between the rift between Donner and Murray was mainly because Murray's approach to acting is fully under the approach of method acting. When on scene, Murray has an approach that is somewhat wild and reckless, which can pose difficulties for actors and directors who are more comfortable with working in more traditional methods. With there being 2 sides to every story, Murray went on to say that the two had a disagreement over every single minute of the day because Donner demanded for lines to be delivered louder. Despite their differences on set, the two were still able to work it out and create an amazing film, which is still today's best holiday classic films to watch for the Christmas season. Number 3, Geena Davis. On the 1990 film set of Quick Change, Geena Davis explained how she was harassed and that she should have walked out. In her memoir titled Dying of Politeness, the Oscar-winning actress highlighted the actor once screamed at her on set for being late and continued to yell as he followed her to her trailer on the set. The altercation happened in front of a large crowd, cast, crew, and onlookers, but the star noted she should have walked away from their first meeting or profanely defended herself so she wouldn't have gotten the part. Davis and Murray first met in a hotel suite where he continued to try to use a massage device on her throughout her audition after her initial refusal. Davis explained she could have avoided the inappropriate treatment if she knew how to react or what to do during the audition, but she also didn't want to appear hard to work with, so she stayed quiet. She then went on to say that there's no point in regretting things, yet she's still here regretting it. This isn't the first time Murray has been linked to inappropriate behavior, as recently on the Searchlight Pictures suspended the production of Being Mortal after allegations surfaced of Murray engaging in an inappropriate way towards other cast members. Murray tried to defend his actions by saying, "I did something funny and it wasn't taken that way." Number 2, Jennifer Butler. On October 12, 2008, Jennifer Butler filed for divorce from Bill Murray, while alleging that their relationship was brutal and uncomplimentary. After 11 years together, the couple's relationship ended with both parties being accused of ugly behavior that played out in front of the press. While filing for divorce, Jennifer also requested at the time that there be a restraining order placed against her husband. While Bill's lawyers did come out to say they couldn't comment on the fact of the case, they did say Bill was deeply saddened by the breakup, and Jennifer Butler's accusations against her husband showed that Murray was aggressive both on and off set, and that her story should have been the reason the star was cancelled years ago before this mess got any worse. The two remained loving parents to their 4 children and would remain that way on best behavior for the best interest of their children. Number 1, Lucy Liu. Lucy's experience with Bill on the set of Charlie's Angels was truly heartbreaking, considering the stars showed amazing chemistry on screen. However, Lucy went on to say that she got into an argument with Murray on set and he started using language that was inappropriate and unacceptable. On the Los Angeles Times podcast, Asian Enough, Lucy said that during the confrontation she stood up for herself and did not regret doing it. The star went on to note that no matter how high you get on the totem pole, there's no reason to put other people down. Lou went on to say that the clash came during a rehearsal on a scene which had recently been reworked. Bill was unable to come because he had to attend a family gathering, and when he learned about it, he was upset and hurled insults at her. Lucy definitely wasn't having it, and she definitely wasn't going to sit around and be talked to in a degrading language, so she decided to speak up for herself and stand by the one thing she had, which was her self-respect and dignity. Murray later downplayed the incident by saying, "Look, I will dismiss you completely if you are unprofessional in working with me. When our relationship is professional and you're not getting that done, forget it." Since the incident, many crew members who were on the set have told Lucy they're really grateful for what she did. Lucy then went on to say that since the film, her and Murray reconciled and that they have nothing bad to say about him. The two started talking at the Saturday Night Live reunion, and he was perfectly nice to her, but she also noted she would no longer sit around and be walked all over. Like Lucy, many stars have addressed their concerns about Bill over the years, and Hollywood should have been keeping an eye on it before matters got worse. Coming at number 10 today, we have Liam Payne. When it comes to Liam Payne and Zayn's relationship, it honestly sounds pretty complicated. When Liam appeared on the podcast Impulsive with Logan Paul, when his former One Direction bandmates' names came up in the context of Paul's brother, social media Jake Paul having a feud with the singer back in 2020, Liam would say, "There's many reasons why I dislike Zayn, and there's many reasons why I'll always be on his side." However, at the same time, Liam would then go on to note that he can't commend some of the things that Zayn has done and that he can't be on his side for that. Liam would go on to say, "What I can say is I understand, and your only hope is at some point in their life, the person on the other end of the phone wants to receive the help that you're willing to give them." Liam would also share insights to one argument he had with Zayn when he would describe the situation, noting that Zayn threw him up against a wall, and Liam had to say, "If you don't remove those hands, there's a high likelihood you'll never use them again." Although in the past the former boy banders have restrained themselves from airing out the band's dirty laundry, Liam took the opportunity to provide his half of the story. Coming number 9, Gigi Hadid. After news broke that Zayn got into a fight with Gigi Hadid's mom, Gigi would release a statement to E! News where she said she would like to stay focused on doing what's best for her daughter. A rep for Gigi would also share that she wouldn't be commenting on the news about Zayn striking Gigi's mother. Shortly after, multiple sources would confirm that the pair had broken up, with one source saying they are not together right now. They are both good parents though, they co-parent. Yolanda is of course very protective of Gigi. She wants the best for her daughter and granddaughter. Apparently at the same time, Gigi wasn't in the US at the time when Zayn got into the altercation with Gigi's mother, as she was spotted at Paris Fashion Week. It would then be reported that Zayn called her and started to yell at Gigi over the phone and told her to strap on some effing balls and defend your partner against your effing mother in my house. Gigi would then abruptly leave France on the same incident to travel home to tend to the issue. Number 8, Yolanda Hadid. News of Gigi Hadid and Zayn Malik splitting up sent shockwaves across their fan bases all over the world. What proved to be more shocking was when we heard Gigi's mom, Yolanda, accuse Zayn of striking her. While the news created a storm at the time, alienating fans would come to back up the singer. Yolanda Hadid has now been accused of lying about the alleged attack. The former Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star allegedly made up the narrative to have her daughter Gigi's boyfriend deported since she's always hated him. According to unconfirmed reports, Yolanda's former aide would then come out to say, word on the street is that her former assistant is the ex-housewife and mama to top models Gigi and Bella. Made up the whole thing about her daughter's baby daddy. She didn't like him. Yolanda got into the fight after she barged into his and Gigi's house in Pennsylvania while the model was abroad on business, and it was alleged that Yolanda was then thrown against a dresser and called some pretty colorful language by Zayn. The singer would then later be fined and sentenced to 90 days of probation on the offense, totaling 360 days. In addition, he was ordered to start taking anger management classes and domestic violence programs. Number 7, Louis Tomlinson. Former band members Zayn Malik and Louis Tomlinson had a fight back after after the band broke up, it doesn't appear to have ever been fully resolved. Lewis, who lost his mother to leukemia in 2016, was hurt and upset with Zayn, while Liam gave an emotional performance on The X Factor just 3 days after his mother's passing. 3 former bandmates, Harry, Niall, and Liam, all came to support him, but Zayn would be a no-show. Later, when Lewis was asked about his relationship with Zayn, he would note that it never fully resolved. He would also go on to say, "I had a couple of calls with him after I lost my mom, and all the boys had agreed to come to that performance and he didn't show, so that really bugged me." While Lewis hoped nothing serious was going on with Zayn that would cause him to miss the performance and support his former band member. Over the last couple of years, Lewis has even tried to get in contact with Zayn to see how he was and if he was okay, but it's been really hard for him to get in contact with the singer, and that he definitely still wishes him well. However, even though he does wish Zayn the best, Lewis still doesn't think he's mature enough to get over what frustrated him in that relationship. But he is closer to being over all the drama between him and Zayn. Coming at number 6, Niall Horan. Niall Horan has been pretty open when it comes to his fallout with Zayn Malik. In an interview with GQ, Niall would admit that even to this day, things have been pretty frosty between the two. While speaking about their feud, Niall would admit that Zayn has to be the hardest man to stay in touch with and that they had a falling out a few years ago. Niall didn't go into any further details about what his feud with Zayn was, or even talk about what exactly went down when it occurred, but it also isn't really surprising news, as Zayn has been pretty open about the fact that he hasn't remained friends with any of the guys since he left the band. Niall also would go on to note that Zayn would probably tell you that he is pretty hard to stay in touch with himself. But Niall doesn't particularly like to talk about him a lot anyways. While Niall would also go on to note when Zayn does have something coming out or going on, he will text him, but he doesn't really get a reply. But at the end of the day, Niall will still give him a shout, as he has no bad blood with him, but understands some things have a lifespan and hopes the two can put the past behind them one day and catch up. Number 5, Jake Paul. When Zayn and Jake Paul were both in Las Vegas back in 2020 for a boxing event, according to TMZ, the two ended up staying in rooms next to each other. When Jake ran into Zayn, he would then ask Zayn if he was going out for the night. This is when the story began to get pretty complicated. According to Jake's sources, they would say that Zayn started to be really rude with Jake and told him IDGAF if you have a good night. This of course would shock Jake, and he simply just went to hang out with his brother Logan instead. Then later, when the two ran into each other again, Jake would try to make friends with the singer, but Zayn started to yell at Jake and asked him, "Who the F do you think you are?" Zayn reportedly even tried to instigate a fight with Jake. Of course, Zayn's sources would have a different story, as they would try to claim that Jake was under the influence and kept trying to annoy Zayn by asking him to party multiple times. But either way, to start a fight with someone who is simply just being annoying isn't really justifiable. And while there probably is a bunch of lies somewhere between both stories, apparently Jake doesn't hold a grudge and he's happy to move on. Number 4, Perry Edwards. Back in 2016, Perry Edwards would confirm that Zayn ended their engagement, but that it wasn't the worst thing that she had to go through with her ex. When Little Mix appeared on UK's Heart Radio following the release of their new single, Shout Out to My Ex, during the visit, Perry would open up about a phone call she received from her ex that caused her to have a meltdown in the middle of the airport. Perry would say, "I was at the airport and I got an awful phone call from someone, and then I just remember screaming in the airport." This would also be the time that Perry would admit that Zayn dumped her over text and she became a woman possessed, and it was awful. Fortunately, she had her girls beside her to help her get through the whole ordeal, including the breakup in general. Number 3, Calvin Harris. Back in 2016, Calvin Harris and Zayn had a pretty embarrassing Twitter fight. The online tiff would begin when Zayn retweeted a post critical of Swift's refusal to stream her music on the website Spotify. Harris would then step in to defend Taylor, who was his girlfriend at the time, and would indicate a war of words on the microblogging site by saying, "You've made your money, cool. F, 99% of musicians who depend on these services to survive, right? Yeah, F him. If you don't get what it means when a successful artist uses their celebrity to benefit every other musician and songwriter in the industry, then stay out of my effing mentions." Zayn would then hit back at Calvin by saying he made an absolute fool of himself by jumping to conclusions, and that he needed to calm his knickers before his dentures fell out. Both musicians have since deleted many of the offensive posts post, although Calvin did end the exchange by telling Zayn it was nothing personal, adding the best of luck to him because he had a great voice. Number 2, Stephanie Davis. Back in 2016, Big Brother star Stephanie Davis would reveal that she had to end her relationship with Zayn Malik because he was seeing Perry Edwards. The axed Hollyoaks actress, who briefly spoke about her romance with Zayn while in the celebrity Big Brother house, admitted that she dumped him in 2011 after she discovered he was meeting up with his now ex-fiance. She would then go on to explain, "We dated 5 months in 2011 just before he started seeing Perry. We broke up because I found out he had been meeting up with Perry." It's said that just before Stephanie and Zayn got together, they were pretty close behind closed doors, and that they were able to keep their relationship pretty quiet before they decided to go their separate ways. While the two ended on very good terms, that still wouldn't stop Stephanie from speaking out about dating Zayn in the spotlight following their split by saying, "I realize it's too hard to keep a relationship going in this industry." Stephanie would then even reveal that when she did finally say goodbye, they would still speak to each other, and she hoped that one day he would finally be happy. Coming in number 1, today we have Bella Hadid. Obviously, the relationship between Gigi Hadid and her baby daddy, Zayn Malik, has been stretched to its breaking point by accusations he assaulted her mom, Yolanda. But it turns out the singer's friendship with Bella Hadid has also been broken beyond repair. According to the US Weekly, sources are claiming that the model had a major blowout with the former One Direction singer following his alleged outburst with her mother. Bella hates Zayn for everything he's done to her sister, which is understandable. The update would come just days after Bella unfollowed Zayn on social media. Bella has chosen to stand by her mom no matter what, and she completely believes her mom when it comes to her story, and Bella is definitely not pleased at the fact that Zayn thought it was justifiable to strike her mom during an altercation that actually wasn't that serious. Before the altercation, Bella actually had a really close relationship with Zayn, but now she feels really betrayed by him, and she can't believe that he would do such a thing to her family. While a part of him will always be a part of her life because he is the father of her niece, the altercation between him and her mom is just so distressing.